Welcome into your 15-minute weather. I'm Meteorologist John Zeigler. I'm all alone here today. By next week, Courtney and I will be back doing the tandem forecast for you guys. But as we always do, before I do too much nonsense, I'll give you the forecast and then we'll jump into our weather pattern. Do I see spring acting like spring? How much snow do I see? We'll talk about yesterday's snow as well and how much we saw and what happened. So today, we did get a little snow. It's a trace, but it does look like we're above freezing, so we're all right. So we're not having to deal with any more icing. Now this morning we did have some icing, but the afternoon we will not. 41, 42 degrees. We'll see southwest winds at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now notice the cloud cover here. This is the first time that we've broken freezing since the snowstorm, the big snowstorm, not last night's little snow. But that means that now you're susceptible to fog. I do think fog could get, a dense fog advisory actually could get issued right around that 9 o'clock time. If they start seeing fog developing, they'll issue the dense fog advisory. One quick note about dense fog advisories, you never get them more than 24 hours out. It's not something we do. Why? Because a lot of times you get, first off, they're touchy, so they're harder to forecast. But two, what if you get dense fog advisories 4 or 5 days in a row? You know, you're not just going to keep issuing these in 24 hours in advance. It'd be weird. So you just kind of issue them at night for the next morning, at night for the next morning, or whenever it's needed. So just understand that. Keep an eye out for that dense fog advisory. All right, now we're going to Nerdland. How much snow did we pick up yesterday? That's a big question for folks. We picked up, of course, it's not working again. We picked up 0.9 inches of snow in the metro. So again, we're looking at March totals here now at 11.3. It bothers me a little bit because why does it bother me that our official report is 11.3? So when you see all these stats, when you Google AI, whatever you're doing, you are going to get only Minneapolis's and the airport of Minneapolis climatology data. There is no possible way for you in Burnsville or you in Jordan or you in Waconia to get data. It's not possible. So why do I say that? I think this is good for you to understand on how there's a hole in data. So we have 11.3 in March. If I look at Chaska is over 15, 16 inches down in Jordan for this month. But when we look in the history books, it'll say 11. That's because that big major snowstorm missed us. Anyways, regardless, I'll get off my high horse here. 0.9 inches of snow. That was actually a little bit higher. Speaking of this hyperlocal and how snow works, in my house, we didn't see more than a trace in Waconia. So only about 25 miles away, trace, 0.9 in the metro. So it's also inaccurate. Again, that's why the roads were a little bit dicey this morning. Also, plows, if you didn't realize this, plows usually get initiated at 1 inch to 1.5 inches of snow, and local plows. City plows, like MnDOT plows, are going to be out there. So you'll notice you just kind of got to let the quick trip melt. Probably not going to get plowed today if you got that 1.5 inches. Now, my clicker is being all weird today. I don't know. We're just going to have to do this by the mouse. All right. So, how much snow are we at? Well, now we're at 48.5. And we're probably, even if we're done for the year, we're going to come in at average. Or maybe a 1/2 inch below average. I forget the full average. But it's right at that 49-inch mark. So it looks like that's it. This is such a seasonal year. By the way, yesterday I had a lot of folks ask me, what happened to that? Because I said 1 to 2 for everybody, and it was only like 1/2 inch, 1 inch. That first batch of snow that came through at around 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m., it evaporated. A lot of it was evaporating, and I missed the dry air that was at the surface. It was evaporating the snow, so that's why the totals yesterday were a little bit lighter. St. Cloud, again, right at average, and I really want to see Duluth. Look at this, 73. We're like, wow, what a lot of, nope, right in line with the average now for Duluth. Season totals, and I did just look at, for temperatures, I just looked at the amount below average that we are in the Twin Cities. We are above. We are actually 3.5 degrees above average still for the month of March. Now, if you look at here, it's because we had that string. This is the first here. Started below average and then strung about 12 straight days above average. And you're like, wow, we're having this like record heat, and then smack. Right? Just way below average. In fact, just 22, 24 degrees below average. So you think about that super warm days, it was actually more significantly cold than it was significantly warm. Now, this is how you make an average. So you think about average in March. Do you ever think it's actually going to be 40, 41, 42 degrees every day? No. 20, and 70. That's how you make an average. So 70s are very common when you get to the back half of March. They are common. We hit them all the time. So the question is, when are we going to hit ours? Well, we have a chance on Saturday, but again, it just looks like we'll have to see this. So slick spots this morning. Spring arrives Friday. 60 is possible on Saturday. Now you can see how they just kind of letting it melt. I think this is a good way to look at it. So you can see out here. Now, most of the parking lots are pretty good, but if you look at some of the side roads, even though we just broke 32, there's still a little bit of light snow out there, and they didn't plow. They never plowed this road, and they never plowed this parking lot up here. They're just going to let it melt. There's just cars going to drive through it. That's why 0.9 inches is kind of awkward, because they don't really do a whole lot with it. Sorry, I got to keep walking off screen here. It's just part of my life here today. 24-hour temperature change. We are 20 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time. Now, yesterday's lows were at around minus 10 up here in Bemidji. Minus 10. So Bemidji was at minus 10. Crazy. And then areas down here you can see we're hanging out in the high 20s right now. We'll go back to this, 33 degrees at 11, 37 at 1, and then we're in the 40s here by the afternoon. So let's go take a look at this here. We'll do a little drawing since my clicker's not really wanting to work. I'll have to reset that. So there's your clipper from yesterday. And you can see the low. So how this works is wow, that's terrible drawing. So there's the front. So there's the warm front here. Now we're actually underneath this warm front. That's why we're warming up, and that's our clipper from yesterday. Now if you go back here, you can see this is an atmospheric river taking over. But what this is doing is it's starting to launch this ridge up here, right? You see that? You see how I always tell people, how do you know how all the weather in the world works? Well, it just works on connecting into moisture from some type of ocean. How does the desert become a desert? Look at this. It keeps all the moisture tight, and then you follow it, and guess what? It runs all this moisture across the country. So yeah, right now, LA, really quiet down here. And that's because we're building this ridge out on the West Coast right now. And that is what's going on. So tonight, actually, we could see a little bit of light rain from this. It's nothing major, but it does look like it's entirely possible. So as we zoom on in here, you will see there is a clipper up here. Now, if you look, all right, it's a little bit of light snow showing up, but if we warm through our day, it does look like this will be that little batch rolling through. Now, what do we know about a clipper system as it works its way in? So it's imagining and I'll draw this out for you. Imagine the low is coming through exactly where I'm drawing it and where the moisture is. So understand how this works. So the clipper, it comes in. I want to get the low on here. Here you go. So we're going to pretend the low is here now. So this weak low comes in. This is going to be this afternoon. You come in with the warm front. It's here. So where would your snow be on a situation like this? Well, first off, your winds are coming now out of this way. The red bars are the surface winds. So this is tonight. This is what's going to happen tonight. So you'll see the snow will stay. Any of the snow stuff is going to stay up here in the cold sector of this, right? So what are we going to see down in here? We're going to see a little bit of light rain. So this is kind of the setup of a clipper system working its way through. And this is the low now. Now it's going to be coming through as we go throughout the day. And you'll see the low pressure center swirling. But what it's doing, notice how it's got this counterclockwise rotation. So above it, it's got a north wind. It shoots down and it grabs dry air usually, and it shoots it up into the system. Now the system likes to snow, and that's where you're actually seeing the snow right now up here. So that's what actually happens. You think clipper, you think cold. Now it is a cold setup if the low pressure center. So let's go back here and zoom out and just say, all right, the clipper, this clipper, instead of driving here, so this is where the track is going to be. Let's say the clipper drove this way, right? Let's say it moved down here. What happens then? Well, the clipper now, so this is how you understand the location of a clipper. So first off, this type of spot, you get the warm front right here. Well, now all of a sudden we're getting some snow, right? We're going to get some snow. And not only that, you're going to see the winds, the warm winds are going to be down here, right, on the bottom side, and we will be in the cold sector of this thing, right? This is how the winds work. Remember, the wind goes directly into the low. So I just drew how the winds would look if this low pressure center was to our south. We're just learning about clippers right now. Remember, the low pressure center is actually a magnet. It sucks in the actual wind. So that's why where the low is, it's everything. So if a low is to your north, you're on the southern side of the magnet, so you get a south wind. If the low drives to your south, which this low is not, if it does, you are on the cold sector of the warm front, which I drew down here, and that is where it snows. It snows where you have that warm air and cold air colliding. That's here. You don't have it back here. And also, the reason it doesn't snow on the backside way back here is because the dry air comes in back there. So you want to find the high moisture where the high moisture and the cold front collides. Now, that's not the setup, but it helps you understand why we're going to be warm. These little finite details matter a lot. So if I put the new low pressure center on, and this is the pattern that we're going to go through. So this is the low that's coming in today. Right, and we'll go ahead and just draw our things again. So if we just draw the magnets to the low, all the magnets to the low, right? This is the wind as it's going through. What's our wind direction? So as it comes in here today, that's a straight up south wind, and then as it passes, our wind turns out of the southwest. So a low traveling to your northeast is a very warm setup. This is exactly why we're going to start warming up underneath this thing as we go into the long range. So we'll take a look at that here, and we'll look at the actual long range forecast for you as well. So just to talk about the rain really quick, and then we'll talk about the temps. See how that little batch comes in? So you can almost imagine it's got that warm front on it from what we just learned. So there's your warm front. So the warm front keeps the snow off to the north, and I can just let it go. And you see, yeah, there's a chance here to run 11 that we'll see a little bit of light rain showers, and then this will pull through. But where's the snow? It's going to be north of it, and it's nothing major. But there's that little clipper as it rolls in. But showing you underneath this thing, we'll probably have some warmth. Talking about the fog, there is going to be a possibility for some fog setting up by the time we get into Thursday morning. The reason I don't like to use fog futurecasts like this is because, look at it, it says St. Cloud 12 and Twin Cities 0. It doesn't really give you a blend. It just gives you all or nothing. So I don't love that. But what does this tell me? Well, it tells me there's a lot of these here at 0. You got a ton of these at 0. So you got to understand there's probably a good chance for this fog to settle in. Now, what do we know about fog? When fog is here in the morning, your afternoon temperatures are going to be hit. So that's why I've got us at 45. Now you'll see Laverne, look at all this warmth down here. I mean, you're talking about very warm air. Now this is waiting to come in here, right? It's trying to come through, but it can't because it's got the snowpack. So we'll have to see what happens. Now tonight, 32 degrees across the metro. And here's Friday. Now notice Friday. Why is it doing this? Snowpack, especially this. This is a historic snowpack out here. Seriously, and I mean that. So you go out here towards Wausau. Wausau has 30 inches of snow that just fell. I mean, it's going to take Wausau a long time to melt the snow. But what does this tell me? The air mass itself is incredibly warm. Air mass and temperatures are two different things, right? We're just talking about the finite temperature at the surface, but the warm air is rolling across our area. Melting is going to be going on. But when you have something like this, you know that it's very tricky to actually nail a forecast, because look at what this says. We're going to be 48 and the Wilmer's going to be 68. Okay, good luck. Now that's Friday. Now I'm going to play it in the low 50s. But Friday, if we can get no fog first off, or at least mix out the fog by 10 or 11, now all of a sudden 55 is on the table, 58 is on the table. But it just depends on how much snow we got to get rid of. And remember, that epic snowpack is going to be messing with our forecast quite a bit. Now, as we go to Saturday, this stuff gets absolutely insanely hilarious. Keep an eye on the snowpack. So the snowpack here in Wausau is in the 30s. So this model is assuming we're going to lose our snowpack here. But look at the warmth. It's going to be very, very warm out there by the time we get into Saturday. So over the next 7 days, I'll say, it looks, I would say, average temperature-wise, which really, for having a foot of snow on the ground, is pretty warm. By the first day of spring, which is Friday, if you didn't know that, first day of spring starts at 9:46 a.m. on Friday. Enjoy some melting snow. Say goodbye to the snow and wave goodbye for me as you're seeing it all melt over the next few days. Thanks for joining us.